We have Cruiseair heat pumps on this 2004 Searay 480. We have one in the salon, one in the guest, and this one here is in the master forward. So what is happening, I'm selecting heat here. This is the heat temperature setting, and this is what the actual current temperature is inside the boat, 51. That's taken below the bed, so it's slowly creeping up. But the problem we're having is the water that goes through the coil on the heat pump is freezing. So I think its capacity, there's a restriction there somehow, because it has stopped flowing. The outside water temperature is probably 41 Fahrenheit. So this is the forward heat pump. What is the water comes in here, goes around once and exits here, and right now it is really cold and there's frost growing on that, so this will freeze in very short order, and I think it's restricting the water supply, and in large part because there's not enough water flowing through it. The heat pump, this is warm and that's warm, but this should be hot, so you can see the frost growing on here right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this line, and I'm going to see how much water is actually flowing to the unit versus flowing out of the unit. If I get a trickle of water here, or a large amount of water here, and then I hook it up and I get very little at this end, that means inside here there's a blockage somewhere, and probably right here, because it constantly narrows down on both parts. I want to think that there's a mussel shell in there. Okay, so I had the heat pump running on AC just to burn off the condensation that was forming in here. The reason I think this is freezing is because the water flow is not enough to allow it to run. So we need to get this out of the way. We're going to get rid of this. 3-inch ducting. Just get it out of the way. There, now it just exposes the unit a little more. So I'm going to run it again, and you're going to see condensation form on here. So right now I am running in the heat demand mode. You can see condensation forming right here. This line is getting frozen. This one is warm and this one is hot. So this is grabbing the heat from the heat pump, and it's bringing it around to the selector valve, and then it's running the hot Freon or coolant, whatever it is, up into the evaporator or the heat exchanger. So in mine we have water in and water out. I think because the water flow is not great enough, it's freezing because the water is shutting off after a short period of time of running. I'm going to let it build up some condensation here, and then I'm going to run it in the AC mode, and you'll see this becomes hot. It subsequently thaws out this line and the water starts flowing again. Okay, so we're currently running the heat pump in the heat mode. I'm going to change it over to air conditioning mode. And what it's going to do, it's going to pump coolant through the coil, and you're going to see all of this snow evaporate instantly or melt. There it goes. So now it's the reverse cycle. And what it does, it thaws out the water line, which I think is restricted in its flow, and then it starts flowing overboard. So the next thing is I'm going to disconnect this water line right here, and we're going to see how much water is actually coming to the unit, whether it's in the unit or it's upstream of the or downstream of the unit. So now I'm going to disconnect the inlet line, and this is seawater, by the way, and what we're going to do is we're going to put it into that bucket, and I'm going to just see how much flow we get. Oops, my light just fell. Okay, so I fixed my light. I'm going to start disconnecting these, and when you're doing this, make sure you turn off all the air conditioning on the whole boat, the other two, because any one of them runs, it turns on the circ pump, which supplies water here. So hopefully I don't get too wet. I have a shop back here that's a wet dry to grab any of this water. This may have a bit of pressure on it. Looks so far so good. There's my shop vac. To capture any of that, I'm going to grab you'll be able to hear me talk. Okay, so now we're just going to pick it up, roll it into here. I'm going to get Stacy to turn on the heat upstairs, which should turn on this pump. Okay, Stace?
Yep.
Are you ready?
Turn the heat on.
Yeah, and then get ready just to hit it off.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, just get ready on the off button. Okay, off. So the problem probably is inside, because I got a lot of water. That's good for now.
Okay, bud.
Alright, so what we will do is we're going to hook it up here, disconnect it here, and see exactly how much comes out of this end. That was a lot of flow, so it's either still frozen in here or there's an obstruction in there somewhere. So let me get set up to do that, and I will come right back. We'll empty this, we'll hook up that line, and that is salty water. Okay, so now we have hooked up the inlet water. This water travels through the coil and exits here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to disconnect this as it goes overboard here in the corner. And I'm going to bring that hose around into a bucket. So I don't know if you can see that or not, but we'll go right, oops, on the other side of that little thing. So this is where the water from the heat pump exits after it's gone through the condenser. This just flows overboard. And what I've noticed is that we're getting just a trickle of water out of there compared to the amount of water that's being supplied. There's a restriction in the system somewhere. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect that, put it into a pail, and do the test all over again. Okay, so now we have the water line hooked up here. This is the exit line. It goes overboard. I don't know if it's visible in this picture. It goes overboard. Well, you can see it just behind. It goes right there. So we're going to put a bucket here, and we're going to capture the water once the heat pump comes on, and just see what our flow is through the unit. Are you ready again?
Just a sec.
Okay. We'll get our bucket here. Bring that around. I'm going to just aim at the bucket. So my guess is that we get very little water out of there.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, the same thing again?
Start it?
Yeah, go ahead. So Stacy's turning on the salon heat. It's going to turn on the pump to cycle this. We're all hooked up. It's going to come in the water, and it's going to exit here. Whoa! Oh my goodness! You should have seen it come firing out of there. So as I thought, it was full of mussels. You can turn it off. That's crazy. So I think there's still some in there. Look at that. All those guys came out of there. So no wonder that thing was not making any heat, because the water was so restricted. That's crazy. So now I got to open that valve. I think there's some in that valve too.
Oh.
Yeah, trapped inside the valve.
And how do you get them all out?
Well, I got to run that pump. You're going to just run that pump again until it pushes them through. They shouldn't stay trapped in there, but unless I reverse it. I put the water line on there and the exit line on here.
Were you taping it?
Yeah, right now. Can I come to this side here?
Yep.
So I'll take the camera off and I'll just show you what came out of there. So it's, as I thought, it's full of mussels. Yeah. A little hard to film here, but look at that. That was inside the line. It's no wonder this thing didn't make any heat. So what we will do is we will reverse the lines. I'm going to keep flushing this until that thing is 100% clean. But that's exactly what I thought was happening, that there was a restriction somewhere. So this is the through hull right here, and this is for the exit water after it leaves the heat pump. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it apart. I don't know if I can get my flashlight to stay there or not, but I can hear something inside there. I don't know, stuck on the valve. It certainly would prevent it from going overboard. Now, it's clean. Yeah. So that's good. And you can see that goes right overboard. Bit of crap in there, but it's clean. So we'll put that back on. And I think we're going to reverse the lines on the heat pump and run it backwards, the coil backwards, and see if I can't get any more stuff out of there. But I'm going to hook this up and then I'm going to go back to the heat pump. So I just went and got rid of the seawater that we pushed overboard, but I wanted to show you what was inside here. This is the mussels that came out of our heat pump in the front of the boat, and it's substantial. You know, if you can see, there's my hand. There's quite a bit in there. All right, so now we're going to take this off. We're going to switch the hoses around. I'm going to bring this one over here and this one to this side, back in the pail, and see if we can't push out any more debris out of the this inner coil. I will get set up, and so I started. This is the exit line. I started blowing through this, and it's a pretty big line, and you would think that I'd have no restrictions, but there's something else in there and I can't see it, but I'm blowing hard, but I'm hardly getting anything out of there. So I want to think that there's more in there. We might be able to blow it out with the reverse water here. So the only other thing I have to do now is, where's my, I'm going to put this line, I'm just going to move this line here, inlet to the inlet here, outlet. They're all screwed down on the floor here. Don't worry about when you undo them. Don't cut the cable. It allows you to put it back together. So just kind of unscrew the screw out of the floor like that and keep the clamp on the hose. And what you can do later is if the hole is no good on the floor, it's been stripped out or something, just move this over about 1 inch and then re-secure it to the floor. Just connect it here. Route it around, connect it under here. I'm pretty confident that the water coming in here now was nice and clean. I did let it run for a little bit and we got a nice solid flow. So it told me there was no restrictions. But this one here I'm not so sure about. So I'm just going to take the return line. Ooh. I want to run this backwards as well, because I think there's a restriction in the hose. So I'm going to put it on backwards as well. Force whatever's in that hose, I'm going to hopefully force it back out into the bucket. I'm going to go empty that bucket just so I know what came out during this purge or this run. Oops, my flashlight, you can still see there. Alright, I'm going to go empty the bucket and then I'm going to come back and we're going to reverse this into a bucket again. Okay, we are back. So you can see I don't have anything in the bucket. I went and drained that. Now I'm going to, I have my pressure water going reversing through the heat pump coming out here, and we're just going to see what we get out of this hose. Okay, Stacy, you ready?
Yep.
Can you go again?
Okay.
Just a minute. All right, and we'll go. And just get ready to stop.
Okay.
It's on there pretty tight. Here comes the water. There's something in there. There is. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. Well, look at that. Look at the flow on that. That is super. Okay. That's near 100%. Again, we got a whole bunch of mussels out of there. I'll show you. Same thing again. Crazy. Just hold this light there for me. And I'm just going to show them inside the... look at that. So you can see all of that. And it's hard to tell, but they're rather big. They look tiny in there. But that's what was going through our heat pump. Oh my goodness. That water will just be shooting out of the side. It's been trickling for a while, but I thought it was normal.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to put it all back together and then see if we can get 7,000 BTU out of this thing. And now it makes me think that all of them need service like this, just a reverse, just to check, because we're in seawater and those mussels do. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and switch these lines back. So this is the water in, and I'm probably going to get a little bit of water retained in there because. And then I'm going to run the whole thing again, and before I let it go overboard, I'm going to do one last check to make sure that we get a really nice flow out of this thing. You know, and here's the other thing too. This was a very easy job. It's just taking a few hoses apart. You know, and I blew through that line earlier and I could barely blow through it, so I knew there was a restriction. So if I had a technician come in and saying, you know, this pump is not making any heat, I probably would have been at $500 just to diagnose it, you know, from what I've seen in this industry. They're very simple. So basically, this is my supply water, right back there. Now there's really no pressure on this. So you don't have to kind of reef these right down, but snug, and they've got double on here. This is, I'm gonna go outside. It's not that nice out. Oops, it's not that nice out right now, and just see. All right, and then we can screw that down to the floor later. You can see the screw marks here. This guy goes into there. Now we're going to hook up the exit hose here, which is this guy. Goes right there. And then we're going to do it into a bucket and make sure that we get our flow. Oh, that clamp wasn't on. This clamp was not on. You can see here, that's where the paint ended, eh? So either push it on a little more or move it up. I think I'm going to move it up here. Like I said, there's no pressure after here. It goes overboard. But in our case, there was pressure because those mussels were holding up the water. That is crazy. I can't wait to see how much heat we get out of this thing. All right, and now we're going to do it again. Are you ready, Stace? Actually, I'm going to empty the bucket just in case we get some more. Okay, so I have our bucket back in here. I have the inlet from the pump, which is down in the engine bay, in the bilge, through a through hull and through your strainer. And that's the first thing I cleaned, actually, was the strainer, to make sure that there was nothing blocking me. So now I'm just going to take this hose and I'm going to get Stacy to turn the heat pump on, and we're going to check our flow here. Okay, Stace, same thing.
Are you ready?
Yeah, same thing. And remember, turn off all the air conditioner, because if you have this unhooked and that circ pump comes on, it's just going to start shooting water everywhere. Run one pump at a time, and here it comes. I can hear the water. So, just perfect. Not another shell came out of there. Look at that flow. That is crazy. This will be a huge stream overboard. Okay, Bon. That's good. Thank you. All right. So now we'll hook up to the through hull and then do a check on how much heat we're getting out of this unit. Okay, so this time around we didn't get anything out of the heat pump or the coil. So I'm just going to check that's tight. This is tight, and it goes overboard. Now I can control the heat from here. Actually, I could have did that earlier too. We're going to ask for heat. And now we'll just see if it should produce a lot of heat. So I am walking up to, oh yeah, that's crazy. It never poured that. It's pretty dark here now. I just want to come out and check to see what's coming out of there. But look at that. That's impressive. I'm going to put on this other light here so I get a beam or a, you can't really see it. No, there it is. A through hull. Nice. So it tells me the other ones need to be checked. This is our weather out here tonight. Terrible. So the first thing I noticed was that this is not frosting up anymore. This used to get all frosted. And this was ice. If you have heat running and you touch this and it's like ice cold, it was frozen and restricted the water. I'm surprised it didn't rupture that pipe. But anyway, it's not making condensation anymore. That's hot. Oh, we already got the temperature. That's crazy. Yeah. Wow. 63 in here. I could not get it above 65. 62 actually. It was not working at all. So that's it. We just we flushed out that system, and that Cruiseair is working again. I just wanted to get a daytime shot. That's what we were showing last night with the flashlight. It has never flowed that good. This is probably brand new how it used to flow. It was just a trickle. Now the water for the salon air conditioning and for the mid-cabin air conditioning come out of this little one here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just run the mid and see how fast that runs. And if it doesn't run this fast, it's plugged. Thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for future videos as I diagnose, troubleshoot, and repair issues on board. See you later.